Hello and welcome to this special show. L&T Mindtree logs in what is supposed to be the first hostile takeover in the Indian IT space here in India. The battle really seems to have got messier with each passing day. A day after L&T acquired 20% stake of one of the largest stakeholders, VG Siddhartha, in mid-tier firm Mindtree, the promoters have hit back, saying the move is unprecedented and hostile in many ways. The battle has really now come out in the public, while L&T management says that the bid is not hostile and the company will do all it can to ensure that the deal gets through in the manner, and the fact that it was VG Siddhartha who reached out to them. The Mindtree promoters stick to their stand and are fighting it out tooth and nail, claiming this is unprecedented in many ways and will really impact not only business, customers, but also employees at the firm. First up, let's listen into this mega exclusive voice which we got earlier on during the day. A.M. Naik, chairman of L&T, defending the move of this takeover by Mindtree, and what role will L&T play going ahead. Let's listen in.
First of all, it is in our mind not a hostile takeover. Now the promoter have only 13%. Many private equity were eyeing on it, right? And 13% can't hold on for long, management control. So we have been hearing off and on that some of the promoter want to really now exit. Now, it may be that they may have other reasons to really continue for some time, but there will come a time within a year or two when they will have to finally give it to a safe company who has very high reputation, whose employees' relationship is superb, and at the same time, who is already coming from IT industry, and we are already having L&T Infotech and L&T Technology Service, and therefore, we become a $3 billion company.
Mr. Naik, if Mindtree promoters come out with an counter offer, whether it's a buyback or they get a white knight in terms of an investor.
They don't have money for buyback. You must understand. They have 1,000 crore cash. Maximum they will get it 3.5–4%.
Okay, I understand that. But what about if they get a third party funder, and if they come up with a counter offer, would you be looking at increasing your price proposition?
I cannot comment on it. As it comes, we'll see.
Mr. Naik, what is the eventual plan? Is it to merge Mindtree with L&T Infotech, or considering their portfolios are so stark and different, they will run as separate entities?
Too early to say anything now.
Okay.
We'll go it by as it happens.
Are you so keen on acquiring this asset?
Why
is L&T Group so keen on acquiring Mindtree as an asset? What are the synergies you see?
What this question is irrelevant. We have a services business. We have an IT company. We have a technology service company. It is a natural addition to make the companies fairly sizable.
A.M. Naik, they're clearly defending the move, not calling it hostile. I'd say there are very limited options with the promoters of Mindtree to execute next. From one big voice to another, Ashok Soota, now one of the co-founders of Mindtree, who gave up his stake in 2011 really. Ashok Soota goes on to talk about what role will the founders really play going ahead. He says they will have to now match a counter bid at a better share price of 980 rupees per share that L&T has offered. And while there are strong emotions that the Mindtree promoters have, they will have to back it up with some action in coming days. Let's listen into another big voice, Ashok Soota, one of the co-founders of Mindtree.
Clearly, Mr. Naik has made his bid, and the founders have also clearly stated their intent of trying to be able to find a counter offer. And the second part of the act, I suppose, will still remain to be unveiled during the next few days. here all I can say is to wish the founders the best if they manage to stave off Mr. Nayak. He has raised his stakes, which is what I read in the morning's papers. I thought it will be a traditional effort to get to 51%, but he's actually aiming for 66. So that even if there's a slippage in his goal, he seems to have set his sights on being able to make sure he gets that 51. At the same time, the founders have also made very strong statements, and I'm sure there has to be some backing and plan behind those statements. So it will be an interesting scenario as it unfolds in the next few days.
L&T CEO S.N. Subramaniam, on the other hand, has defended the takeover move, saying they will approach this deal with faith, dil and pyar as well. He also really said down, while there will be trepidations, at the end of the day, business means business. So what really will be the future of Mindtree? Would L&T also look at merging it with their L&T Infotech? Let's listen in to the L&T CEO.
L&T Infotech, our IT company, or LTI as we call it today, is predominant in the banking, manufacturing, oil and gas, and insurance kind of business. Mindtree is into CPG, retail, hospitality, travel, and the technology space. So for us, it made enormous sense from that point of view. So once the meeting with Mr. Siddharth started progressing on the lines of what could have been an investing opportunity for us, we said we would take a deeper interest into this. And that's what we have done at the moment by signing the share purchase agreement with Mr. Siddharth. I would like to take this presser to reassure Mindtree, its management, its board of directors, all its employees and well-wishers and stakeholders, that this is an 80-year-old company. It's got some of the highest governance values. Chairman is a legend, is an heroic gentleman. Not many of you would know, Hall Klassen is a Padma Bhushan, one of the highest civilian awards. One of our directors, Mr. Anumolu Ramakrishna, who headed the construction part, received Padma Bhushan posthumously. Present group chairman, Mr. Nayak, is a Padma Bhushan awardee, and recently was awarded Padma Vibhushan, the highest civilian award. It shows the culture that we have. It shows the principles that we believe in. It shows the governance that we have. It shows the value systems that we have. And it shows how and what L&T is all about.
L&T CEO, they are clearly indicating that Mindtree will continue to be a separate entity, at least in the near term, and this is the best proposition for employees of Mindtree as well. Moving on from that, the Mindtree promoters clearly seem to be putting up quite a fight. They continue to oppose this tooth and nail. The promoters have indicated they did call for a press briefing earlier in the afternoon today, where they've put 5 questions to the L&T management, calling this bid not only hostile, but also the implications to be disastrous for clients, employees. Let's listen in to the 5 questions that Krishnakumar Natarajan, co-founder of Mindtree, has put to the management of L&T.
Hostile takeover by Larsen & Toubro, unprecedented in our industry, could undo all the progress we have made and immensely set our organization back. We do not see any strategic advantage in this transaction and strongly believe that the transaction will be value destructive for all shareholders. Having carefully studied all the available information and documents, we have 5 questions for L&T. The first question: you have chosen to mount the first ever hostile takeover in the 50-year-old unblemished Indian IT industry. If you persist in what you're doing, you'll forever be remembered for this. Is this how you want to set an example? Question number 2. You are a company with a turnover of 120,000 crores. You are 18 times the size of Mindtree. Why can't you build a great technology business with your resources and capability without disseminating another organization? Question number 3. Our customers choose us for our unique culture. They will stall all future business and even take their business elsewhere. In the process, you would have demolished shareholder value for both the companies. Is this the right thing to do? Question number 4, and a very important question. This is a people business. Mindtree Minds have signed up for a mission, not just a salary. Take their mission away and they will go. What will you be left with? And question number 5. If companies of great repute like L&T behave with extreme hostility to first generation entrepreneurs, what message are you giving to all startups in the country? Are we giving a message that honest, credible, high integrity entrepreneurs have to give up their company? And that is question number 5.
Krishkumar Natarajan there, emotional outburst, also putting those serious questions, also bringing the role of startups and how this would dissuade entrepreneurs in the country. I also caught up with him to understand what really is the plan B. Will they look at a counter bid to this to ensure that the promoters get more investors on board? Let's listen into that exclusive conversation.
It is not an investment, it is a hostile environment where definitely value destruction for shareholders will happen. We want to ensure that such value destruction does not happen.
So, while you have indicated that the domestic institutional investors still continue to back the company, the employees, the clients are still with you. Is there a counter bid that you would want to raise? What would really be the plan B, sir? And the sort of support that you're enjoying right now from different stakeholders?
No, I think we have a tremendous support based on the continuous value we have created for shareholders. Our institutional investors like Nalanda Capital, Arohi, all of them are backing us up to the full. So to that extent, I think this is something which the shareholders will decide. We have delivered consistent value. We have built a high integrity, high quality, high performing company, and shareholders will decide what the next moves will be.
But what really will the impact be on the minority shareholders? What really happens to investors in this scenario? My colleague Pranay Jain really joins us to decode all the maths and the numbers behind this deal and the impact really.
Well, the stock of L&T and Mindtree both closed about 1.5–2% lower in trade after L&T signed share purchase agreement with VG Siddhartha to pick up 20.32% stake at 980 apiece. In fact, L&T also plans to buy 15% stake from the market at a price of 980, for which the mandate has already been given to the broker, and at the same price is looking to launch an open offer thereafter for about 31% stake. So cumulatively, it wants about 66% stake, which could cost it about 10,700–800 crores. This is surplus cash that it has with itself, as its earlier plans for a buyback was thwarted, and that was a setback for L&T, which is why A.M. Nayak, the chairman, said that this is not really a hostile takeover because the promoters of L&T hold just about 30% stake and they can't have management control for long. In fact, Mindtree had approached them some time back, but at that time they did not go ahead with the proposal. They were neutral. Later on, when VG Siddhartha a few months back approached, they saw business sense in it because the investment In the services business, yields a higher return. 15-16% is the kind of PAT margin that services business has versus 5-6% from its bread and butter EPC business, and they want to move to a higher return profile. So it offers a good investment option. Mindtree is a company that has good standards of corporate governance, good client relations. Also, compared to L&T's IT businesses, whether it is infotech or technology, this is complementary, so there is minimal overlap. Also, they see synergies going forward. As of now, the two will be retained and managed independently as listed entities, but later on, eventually, if there is a call to merge, they may consider that later. Mindtree promoters have been very vocal in this unwelcoming move by L&T and have appealed to them that they should actually look to use the resources to build their own IT company and scale it up rather than investing, because it could damage the culture and also destroy the shareholder value and all the progress that has been made over the years. So it'll be interesting to see what Mindtree board meet tomorrow comes out, whether it is with regards to buyback announcement for promoters to increase their stake in order to stave off this plan by L&T, or any other future course of action steps that we see.
Let's now take the conversation forward and understand what options do the promoters of Mindtree actually have to counterbid. Do they have the option at all? We are joined by Sudhin Apte of Offshore Insights and Sriram Subramaniam from InGovern Research to sort of help us understand what's the way forward. Sudhin, I'll come to you first. Take us through what does this really mean for L&T in terms of synergies. It would also sort of give them enough muscle adding to their client and also push them to one of the larger IT companies. Talk to us about how will this merger really work out?
I think as far as L&T is concerned, if you look at last 2 to 3 years, L&T has shown or demonstrated its very high hunger for growth. And in current market scenario, if you really see organic growth is limited, because large deals are not happening. The natural growth in traditional service lines is hampered. So obviously, I think L&T is looking for one chunk of $1 billion via an acquisition or takeover, though they're keeping it separately currently. So that's a one surely driver for L&T. I think more importantly, if you look at the DNA of Mindtree, it has got a great digital capability. It has got good capability on digital marketing. It has, because of its pedigree, it has good connect in the B2C spaces like retail, commerce engine, consumer goods, etc. So for L&T perspective, it dovetails well, and they can use the platform and IP strategy as well as digital capability of Mindtree to take it to the client in a longer run. So I feel that's how they would look at this opportunity and how Mindtree value can be leveraged. 66% or 67% of Mindtree revenue is completely different than what L&T operates in. So surely, it complements. However, it also poses a bunch of issues for the clients, which are not in the verticals that L&T has. So earlier this battle gets resolved, I think, it helps clients and the value that promoters talking to retain.
Okay, so then I want to get Mr. Subramaniam into the conversation. Sir, what will the role of SEBI be in this scenario, while the promoters go around claiming that this is an hostile takeover, unprecedented at that, what role can regulators really play? Because on a pure play business basis, this seems like a transaction between L&T and the largest shareholder. So is there any role that the regulators can play?
In that sense, the regulator has already played a role in defining the SAST, which is the takeover regulations, right? And that is clearly laid out. So as long as L&T adheres to the process and adheres to corporate law, I don't think there is any role for a regulator. Hostile takeovers by itself, much is being made out that hostile takeovers is an anathema. No, hostile takeovers by itself is not wrong. Hostile takeovers is good for capital markets. Let us have hostile takeovers, more hostile takeovers. It's good for capital markets, it's good for shareholders. Only that as long as the person who is taking over has a genuine interest and has laid out a plan which is clear and not against any, not violating any corporate law. So from that perspective, I think hostile takeovers are good.
Okay, Mr. Apte, just want to understand, the Mindtree promoters have said that the clients will not really repose faith if this deal gets through. Employees don't really seem to. So as far as the impact on business and continuity is concerned, would you expect that as far as clients are concerned, there will be an impact and a hit that Mindtree and of course L&T would really take in this journey?
I have seen several acquisitions in last 15 years as an analyst, and I do believe that clients are more worried about their engagement, how the delivery is happening in their current projects, and the people with whom they are interacting. As far that continuity is maintained, clients really don't worry much about who is selling stake to whom and how the leadership change happens. So as far as Mindtree ensures that their delivery engine and the client connect is not disrupted, the client going away actually don't happen that frequently, because we are talking about a very deep entrenched services business wherein vendor change and new vendor onboarding is typically a year-long process. So vendor change don't happen that frequently. Of course, I think promoters are very keen to keep the control. They can read the writing on the wall that if L&T gets in, eventually it will get merged. They obviously know that L&T will bring in some different management. So I think it's a more about control of company and maybe some emotional aspects of promoters associated with the company. L&T is not a novice. L&T is not somebody who don't understand services business. They do 2 times the business of Mindtree. So I feel that, in the interest of Mindtree itself, they need to ensure that the value and the client relationships are retained. Now, it's just a reality that 20% of the stock has been actually procured by L&T. Earlier, both the camps get together and ensure that there is no client value disruption. It's a better for both the camps. And I think maybe, initial conversation need to happen from L&T to reach out to employees especially, and maybe Mindtree clients as well as Mindtree founders to ensure that there is an amicable mechanism to quickly resolve this issue. Otherwise, client exodus will start, and if client and employee exodus starts, then it's very difficult to restrict.
Got it. So then you're saying that L&T will have to reach out to employees and also ensure that clients really stay on. Mr. Subramaniam, coming to you, we've rarely seen hostile takeovers really work, but let's practically talk about what options do the founders really have. Does it really come back to numbers with 13% stake? How much of it can they really get investors on board, make a counter bid, and the time at hand is also quite less. So what really options do they have?
No, I think from their perspective, they can only hope that the open offer for 31% doesn't succeed. That means no one tenders shares. And so from that perspective, L&T will be only at 20 plus 15 if they are able to buy from the market at 35%. So that would be the best case scenario where L&T would have 35% shareholding. And but the founders don't have any financial investor backing them as of now, or they haven't, whatever they have engaged in the past couple of months hasn't succeeded. So from that perspective, the best case scenario is for founders to, where L&T has 35% shareholding, treats it as a financial investment and sort of brings about some changes in the board, but it lets some of the founders continue managing the company. Whether that's going to happen, whether that's in L&T's thinking, is of course some amount of speculation.
All right, Sudhin and Mr. Subramaniam, thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us. With that, we come to an end to the special edition. All eyes on what the plan B as far as the promoters of Mindtree are concerned. They have said that they are planning something. We'll have to wait and see what they come out, or do the promoters really end up selling their stake here. That's it from the special edition. Stay tuned to ET Now for more news and updates.